So that's going to give quick time to Hayden Cardwell. Your points leader is the man out front right now. We invert 3 drivers in each heat race. So Hayden Cardwell will start third here in heat race number 1. Looks like 5 heat races here tonight, so good participation numbers here for the Wicked Energy Gun Midget Series. Like we said, feature is going to be 35 laps. Each heat, however, will be 10. And we will be transferring the top 3 onto tonight's A main. Everybody loading in. Billy, this is one of the larger tracks here for the midgets. We did see Eldora last week, and now Charlotte this week. It's an interesting track, one of those tracks that everybody likes to go to because you get multiple grooves of racing. These drivers have choices out there.
Yeah, and it just depends on how rough it gets. Charlotte, for some odd reason, on the sim gets extremely rough and choppy on corner entry, so it always makes things a little interesting when those guys that it's a very big risk reward track. You can either be super fast on the top and deal with the bumps, or you can kind of roll through the middle, or slow roll the bottom and try to make up some ground there where it's a lot smoother and maybe a little bit slower, but the consistency's there. So the last time we were here last season with them, it was a really fun race, and a lot of slide jobs expected tonight.
Starting lineup here for heat race number 1. In the 101, it is Shea Paolo on pole with Trey Schmidt in the 012 to his outside. Hayden Cardwell, current points leader, quick time tonight. Starting inside row 2 with J.D. Brown to his outside. Dustin Griffiths and Brad Faria make up row number 3. Brendan Lacey and Bo Brunig, row number 4. And Aaron Schaefer and Alex Bison rounding out your field. We are going green for 10 laps. Top 3 will advance to tonight's A main. Everybody else has to go to the soup. And we are green. Good start for Paulo. Cardwell as well, going to take that slide job for second place, but it's actually the second place driver, Trey Schmidt, going to make his way to the front of this field, powering through the middle of those cars. See Dustin Griffith on the high side. A little bit of contact there for the 72 car of Faria. Looks like everybody's got that sorted out. Cardwell, your quick qualifier, now sets his sights on the race leader. Looks like everybody's sticking to that middle lane right now, Billy.
Yeah, when it's like this, the cushion's just a fast way around. Oh, Griffiths. Oh.
Griffiths
Tough break
looping it
for
around.
Griffiths.
Yeah,
Caution
does
like he got
come
in the
out,
back
though.
at JD. In which JD Brown is looking for some better luck. He was in a transfer spot last week at Eldora when there was a lap car incident in the heat race that caused a bunch of mayhem. So hopefully we'll go back green here in a minute and see if Dustin can come back through the field. He looked pretty quick before that little mishap.
Yeah, you can see there Dustin was battling for the transfer spot. JD Brown came down the track there after he pumped it into the cushion, which made contact with the right front there on the 82 and sending him around. A little bit of an issue there under yellow. Alex Bison coming to a stop and exiting there on the front stretch, so not sure what was going on there. But let's reset at the front of the field. It is Trey Schmidt, your race leader. Hayden Cardwell in second. J.D. Brown in third. You can see the big movers of the race right now. At the moment, it's Lacey who's making his way forward. Paolo and Griffiths the ones struggling. Caution flag laps do count here in the heat races. We're going to go green next time by. Top 3 move on. We're going to have 4 laps of racing action here. Want to keep an eye on that third spot. J.D. Brown has it right now. That transfers you to the A main. Fourth place, Brennan Lacey's been making his way through this field, and he wants that. Good start for the race leader, but Hayden Cardwell on the high side has a run. Let's see what he can do. Ooh, Lacey goes around there battling for the transfer spot. He gets it sorted back out. Caution flies.
And that's a tough break for, I was watching towards the back of the field. That's a tough break for Griffiths because he got a really good restart and was getting ready to go around a couple guys in the back, trying to move his way up a little bit so he didn't have to run the total alphabet, see if he could make it into the B, but looks like this might be the end of this heat race here.
Yeah, I think that's going to do it here. So that's going to give Trey Schmidt the win, Hayden Cardwell second, and J.D. Brown is going to reach your final transfer spot. Shea Paolo and Brad Feria on the outside looking in. I would imagine that Aaron Schaefer also will end up going to the B main there in sixth spot, and I believe Brunig and Griffiths and Lacey will end up heading to the C. Lacey there, he was the one that was doing battle with J.D. Brown. Those two cars came together, and Lacey went around. Very similar to the incident with Griffiths as well. So it seemed like J.D. was struggling over there in between turns 1 and 2, but in the end it works out for him, and he will transfer to tonight's A main. One more lap under caution here. Yeah, we talked about how this track seems to get very rough come feature time, the more it wears in. That is something we see a lot in DOB competition with the wing sprint cars. You think the midgets, it's a little bit less here, Billy, because of the cars not weighing as much, and quite frankly not using the high side as much as well, because these guys will be down in the moisture a little longer than the sprint cars. Well, not necessarily than the sprint cars will, but the sprint cars wear the track out a little bit quicker, it seems like, right?
Yeah, they definitely wear the track out faster. Just you're dealing with less tire, less horsepower, less wheel spin. Same amount of cars that are on the racetrack. It's just a matter of where they move around with. They don't kill a racetrack near as fast as what a sprint car does, especially a wing sprint car. Wing sprint cars will just move the cushion further and further and further. But Charlotte's a little weird like that, where the bottom is really really flat. Then it'll get a little bank up and to the wall, progressively banked, so the bottom doesn't wear out as quick as what some of the other places do, where everybody's going to be running the cushion until the top starts getting wore out. If I could talk tonight, that'd be cool. But the top will start getting wore out to where the bottom and the top will start getting more and more even. So the farther out the night goes, the bottom will start to come back in.
So let's talk about heat race number 2 here. On the pole in the 42, it is Sean Wallenfels Jr., and to his outside in the 008, Cole Newhoffen. Colton Hardy in the 152, inside row number 2 with James Tiernan to his outside. Todd LeBoob in the 94 and Brandon Steele make up row number 3. Brian Johnson and Michael Klinkelfuss, row number 4. And rounding out your field, it is Kyle Clements and James Edens. Billy, last night we saw Swindell Speed Labs as the dominant force in 360 competition at Lanier. We've got a couple of quick Swindell Speed Lab cars here in this race. Do we expect the same sort of thing?
Unless there's some carnage, I fully expect to see James Edens come from 10th to at least a transfer. Depending on cautions, depending on how it works out, it takes a lot of luck to start back there. But I would fully expect to see those guys run. They're generally quick anywhere that they go. So it'll be interesting to see what Edens can do from the back.
10 laps here, top 3 advance. We've got a really quick heat race. Going to see what happens. A little bit of beating and banging from Hardy and Tiernan as we go green. Row number 2 getting frisky already. Let's take a look at him. Tiernan's on the high side of the track. See Hardy trying to take his line away. Newhoffen coming right up on the back bumper of Wallenfels. Tiernan has cleared Hardy, moves to the middle of the racetrack, and he's around Newhoffen and working on Wallenfels for the race lead. Here comes Newhoffen with a charge. They're 3 wide for a moment across the nose of Tiernan, and Tiernan's going to take the lead. James Tiernan, your race leader. Second right now belongs to Wallenfels, but now Newhoffen pulls him down the backstretch. Colton Hardy trying to get in this battle. Was looking to make a move on the 42 there, had to kick it sideways. I thought them boys were going to make contact for just a moment. Wallenfels going to get right up on the back bumper of Newhoffen. Middle of the track, still the place to be, even though the cushion has moved its way up.
And start to play the Jaws music, as here comes James Edens from the back. He's up to 6th currently, working on 5th. And looks like he's got the speed right now to at least get up there and contend for a transfer, but he's starting to run out of time.
Yeah, the laps are winding down. We're going to keep an eye on Edens here because it seems like the top 4 are all nose to tail. Well, you can see now as I speak, Wallenfels makes us look at 2nd place. It's a little more complicated right now for James Edens to make big runs. The track still has a lot of moisture in it. Everybody's, for the most part, basically wide open. So, with the cars so even at the moment, it's harder to make that charge from 10th. He's got 4 spots so far, however, and this race is not over. We've still got 3 green flag laps left. Transfer battle heating up here as Colton Hardy is making his way to the rear bumper of Wallenfels. Wallenfels is trying everything he can to get around that Newhoffen car because he wants the insurance to make sure that Hardy stays behind him. Hardy on the high side, Wallenfels right through the middle. James Tiernan, meanwhile, takes the white flag 4 more corners, and he's got heat race number 2 in the bag, and that will put him outside front row in tonight's feature. Tiernan, Newhoffen, Wallenfels, and Hardy now battling it out for that final transfer spot. Hardy makes a run, not going to happen. Sean Wallenfels finishes 3rd and makes his way into tonight's A main. James Edens does come home in 5th spot. Does secure himself a B main starting position. So that is not the last we have seen of James Edens. Probably not by a long shot.
No, I would definitely say so. He makes his bread, he makes his money when the track starts getting slick. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, what he can do in the C or the B main later.
So we are loading up heat race number 3 right now. Got a lot of follows coming in. I want to thank the Tranquil Pineapple, SD Hill, Racing Geek 10, Charlie Hustle as well. Shane KV for the subscription as well. We missed that a couple nights ago. Give him a shout out there. So we are getting ready to roll here with heat race number 3. Alex Smolders in the 311 is starting on the pole with Brett Hobson in the 181 outside. The 44 of Blake Cannon and the 005 of Braden Eiler make up row number 2. Tyler Chalk in the 35 and Dustin Hall in the 574 in row number 3. Peyton Grease and Jeff Westergaard in row number 4. And Danny Lawson and Anthony Lepresto rounding out your field. Eiler last week at Eldora was very quick, but consistently found trouble.
He was blaming it on the fact these cars don't have wings on it, but I don't know if that's the case.
Jordan Santa, we're getting some Billy and AJ shenanigans. The shenanigans are at a low pace here. We're trying to be professional, so notice I said trying to be. So we're going green with 10 laps here. Smolder's doing a little bit of blinking. Hopes that clears up for him here, because he's leading them down for green here in heat race number 3. Great start for Cannon, who gets up to the high side there in 2nd spot. Looking to chase down the 311 of Smolders. Oh, big crash down the backstretch. That is Tyler Chalk. Caution is out. See if we can get an instant replay here. We can see Chalk sliding up the race course. Contact with another car sends him into the fence and over. I believe that was the 574 of Dustin Hall that he made contact with.
Yeah, it looked kind of like Hall had a good head of steam and tried to get underneath of him, and it looks like they just both kind of met in the middle a little.
And that is going to be the end of his racing night here in heat race number 3 at the least. Tyler Chalk, too much damage to continue. See, those guys always try to power on when they land on 4 wheels. But if you get that meatball flag, as we like to call it, a damage flag, it gives you 3 laps before you have to pull in and fix that car. And a pull into the pits here, especially at Charlotte, because it's really hard to find your pit stall here at Charlotte. But that's a minimum of what, 7-8 minutes worth of damage repair. The race is over by the time you get a chance to get back onto the racing surface. Still problems for Alex Smulders here, blinking. I'm hoping that it's just us that's seeing that and not the other drivers on the track. It is possible for them to ask him to pull or to end up with an end-of-line penalty, pull to the rear of the field if he is blinking too much and causing problems for the drivers. But he's not being asked to do that by DOB officials, and we're going to go green this time by. We see Eiler battling it out there. Peyton Grease trying to find the high side behind him. It's 3 wide and 1 car around in front of another 2. And upside down, that is Jeff Westergaard. No caution, however. We're not going to go to the replay. We're going to stick with the racing action, and you can see the 181 of Brent Hobson trying to make his way around second place Blake Cannon. A little bit of contact there with the Swindell Speed Lab driver. He does get clear. Now Cannon's going to fire back. I don't think he appreciated that at all. Not going to be able to make that slide job stick. And he's got to make sure, Billy, that he keeps a cool head here, because any sort of mistake... Oh, there it goes!
And there it was. There it was. And it looks like that's going to work out. The benefactors of that are both Peyton Grease and Braden Eiler.
That's the thing. I was just mentioning it. You got to keep a cool head, because anything that you do there is going to open yourself up to the cars behind you. And he was passed. Even though he knocked 1 car out of the way, he was passed by 2 cars. And now he's under fire from Lepresto. And I got to say, I think we're going to see a penalty on that anyway. I imagine he's going to be docked some positions and probably end up with... Let's see, we do have a caution on the track here. So
yeah, caution with that's the end of the race here. So the Braden Eiler and Peyton Grease, better to be lucky than good in this case.
There you have it. A little bit of aggressive driving from Blake Cannon ends up costing him. So your race winner will be the 311 of Alex Smulders. Braden Eiler finishes second, and Peyton Grease in third. Cannon will be scored with 4th at the line, but I do believe we're going to see some sort of penalty there. I'm not sure if that'll be for what would be the B main, or quite possibly could be a +1 like Jordan mentions in the chat there. These guys, now remember, the DOB keeps track of incidents during their races, and they are under a 3-strike system. If you are deemed at fault and you do not claim an incident, you will be given a 1-point penalty. And once you reach 3 points, you will sit out a race week. And if you are deemed at fault for an incident and you claim it, or if you just end up in something like that, you could end up with a 0.5-point penalty, which adds up as well. So these guys you've got to keep a cool head in these races, because before long, all of a sudden, you can really hurt your championship hopes. Looks like Jeffrey Stewart's in this race here, and he's talking in the chat, trying to sell some dude wipes in the next heat here.
Hopefully he doesn't need a dude wipe after the way that these heat races have started. Some of these guys might definitely need one.
Boy, we're leading with the fire here in the Wicked Energy Gun Midget Series, no doubt about it. So let's talk about the starting lineup here. Winner from last night in the first 360 race, it is Matthew McKinney in the 51 on the pole. Cole Harvey in the 085 to the outside. Rusty Kruger and Nathan Davis make up row number 2. Jeffrey Stewart and Chris Roberts, row number 3. Anthony Marvugolo and John Lepresto, row number 4. And rounding out your field is Tim Berner and Brett Strickler. Heat race number 4, 10 laps the distance. Top 3 move on to tonight's A main. And we're going to see if we've got the same sort of fireworks here in this race that we saw in heat race number 2. Matthew McKinney gives them the green. Been really tough on the guys starting to the outside of the race leader here tonight, Billy. Everybody's getting the jump on the inside lane, and Rusty Kruger is no different, moving his way into second. Firing back is Cole Harvey. You can see a little beating and banging in the back there. Looked like Brett Strickler was making his way through. One car around. Looks like he's got that gathered. That is not John Lepresto. It's Anthony Marvugolo. Get back up front. Rusty Kruger now looking to make a move on the race leader, Matthew McKinney. Looks like Kruger running a little bit of a higher line there than McKinney. We're going to see if that pays off for him. Cole Harvey holding on to the final transfer spot, and Jeffrey Stewart is the man trying to make his way forward and put a challenge forth to find a way into tonight's A main. Harvey. Go ahead.
And again, it could be the same kind of scenario if Jeffrey kind of plays this a little bit smart. I don't know if he's got the speed to really go up there and catch him, but the more that those two guys race each other, Kruger and Harvey, the more they race each other, the slower they're going to go, which might give Jeffrey and the rest of those guys a chance to fight for a transfer spot here soon.
And all of these boys have history as well. You got to remember, this is, we just became the home of the DOB racing series, but there's a lot of seasons worth of dirt racing that they have seen over the past couple of years. Rusty Kruger, known as Mr. Excitement here in DOB competition for good reason. Very fast driver, sometimes can find some trouble along the way. But right now doing really well here in second place. Trying to chase down Matthew McKinney, and Jeffrey Stewart is chasing down the third place car of Harvey as well.
Yeah, he threw a pretty big haymaker. Had to check up and actually ended up costing him a position, but looks like he's getting ready to throw another slider back on Chris Roberts, and looks like Chris might's going to try to cross him over.
Yeah, a little bit of contact there. Roberts made the slide job work, and now Stewart, those boys having at it there for fourth spot. Very important there. Remember, every position counts as the white flag is going to fly here. We're going to watch that battle for the lead. Every position counts, moves you up in the B main racing order, especially very important in the top 3 because that is the difference of 5 positions in tonight's feature. So Matthew McKinney trying to hold off the 5 of Kruger, who nearly catches an infield tire. McKinney is going to win. Kruger second, and third place will go to Cole Harvey. It was Jeffrey Stewart there coming home in 4th, and Chris Roberts actually came home 7th as Brett Strickler made his way through. Billy, let's talk about that for a second. It's hard I guess it's not hard to be aggressive, but when you're in the feature, obviously when you're in the heat race, the main goal is to make the feature. And this is the hardest series in DOB to actually make the feature in. So you want to be in that top 3, but if you're in the top 3, one position can mean the difference of 5 when you're going to the feature. So how do you balance that? Wanting to be aggressive to get yourself farther up in the feature, but also being protective enough to make sure that you make the race.
It honestly, really, for me at least, when I run these, it depends on who you're racing with. If you're racing with guys that you know that you can trust and run side by side with, you can kind of be a little bit more aggressive with things. If it's a newer guy or somebody that you have had some past history with, sometimes it is smarter just to ride because. If you're sitting, especially if you're sitting in third, the first heat's really critical because you're going to go from either starting first, sixth, or what is it, 11th. So 2 spots can make up 5 rows in the feature, which is just less cars you're going to have to pass. So I there's a very fine line between, if you can make something work safely, go for it. But sometimes it's just better to ride and get the transfer spot and then do your work in the A main.
Severe balancing act that could mean the difference between having a chance to win an A main feature and finding yourself in the top 10 or even farther back. Tyson Landis, Chase Ruderman, Kendall Tucker, Jonathan Smith, Mason Hannigan, Stephen Hill, John Lowe, Jamie Wallace, and Zach Kaiser. Your field here for heat race number 5, final heat race of the midget evening. Team SETI driver Landis leading them down. Gonna watch Tucker here. That third place car's had the advantage over second. So far tonight, you can see them side by side down the back stretch, 3 wide behind them for 4th place. Tucker is gonna hold on to second there. Rodman chasing him down. You can see Tropical Storm Mason Hannigan making his way into this. Wow, big slider here coming from Hannigan. He's gonna go for second. And he's going to land it. A little bit of contact there as Tucker tried to get off the cushion, and we got one car upside down in turn number 1. That is Jonathan Smith, and the caution will fly. Instant replay here shows Tucker having his issue. I think that was Rodman checking up, seeing that possible incident in front of him, Billy. And that caused problems for Jonathan Smith, who run over his right rear.
Yeah, he really didn't have anywhere to go on that. That's just one of those unfortunate things. But the tropical storm there coming from 5th, he might be slowly blossoming into a stage 1 hurricane here. The rate that this is going, that was a heck of a slider that he threw on old Tucker there.
That is the goal, right? You want to, his father, well known for being a hurricane of Katrina proportions, which might be a joke that's possibly too soon. But Mason Hannigan with a big slide job to move from 4th to 2nd in one section of corners right there. So big move here for Mason, who has found his way up to the rear bumper of Tyson Landis. Right now, it is Landis, Hannigan, Tucker, and Rodman, your top 4. See Hannigan, the big mover. He's got 3 spots so far. We're going to keep an eye on those cars just to see who ends up with those 3 transfer spots. Stephen Hill looking to get in that battle as well. The laps are winding down here. 4 to go here as we take the green off of turn number 4. Here comes Tyson Landis with a good start. Watching second place Hannigan rolling the cushion. Stephen Hill trying to make a move on Rodman there for 4th, but he's going to get hung up behind that car, which allows Kendall Tucker to make more of a gap, and Tucker's going to try to take it to Hannigan as well as the caution flag flies once again. See if we can back it up here, and there you see the incident itself. Jamie Wallace, the driver behind the wheel there. You can see Hill in that checkup that we spoke about. And nowhere to go there for Wallace, as all of a sudden he was driving much quicker than the guys in front of him. We might get one lap of green flag action here, Billy. Yeah, actually,
nah, I don't think
we're wrong.
so.
I think we're wrong.
I think we're gonna stay yellow.
So that means Landis, Tucker, and Hannigan, your top 3. Interesting there. Looked like Hannigan lifted for the yellow, and Tucker still ended up with that position. That's one of those things we mentioned last night. When these yellows come out, you never know who's putting a slide job on somebody else, and the field freezes when the yellow comes out, which means that the guy making that slide job could end up with that position if he catches the yellow at the right time.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate, but it's the same for everybody. I mean, you don't ever remember the times you get lucky with that scenario. You only remember the times that it kind of goes against you. So it
Yeah,
happens to everybody.
I got a big list, I'll be honest with you.
Oh, you have more of a list. I've seen you go from fifth to 10th without ever turning a lap, just based on a restart of a wheel slip or something. So
Come
it's
on,
just it's part of the iRacing deal. But we need to go back to the last completed lap.
yeah,
iRacing, make it happen.
help me out, iRacing, because that's really rough on me there, I got to tell you. So there you have it. Landis celebrating his heat race number 5 victory. He's going to start 5th in tonight's feature, and we are going to move on to tonight's D main. Keep an eye on that. Looks like 2 drivers will transfer from the D to the C. So this is where it gets complicated, Billy. If you have trouble in the heats, all of a sudden you end up in the D main, and you only have 2 spots available to move you up in the alphabet soup here. So it's only going to get more complicated.
Yeah, if you struggle in your heat race and you're back in the D, unless you have a really dominant car, it's extremely hard to run the soup in these races anymore. Last season when they were still taking 4, there was one race I can remember where a few of us came from deep out of the D main to at least transfer into the A. But anymore, you have to have a really dominant car, and especially with the way that the track builds are working this season, we're not seeing the track near as slick as what we usually do or what we have in seasons past. So the tracks are still extremely fast. You just have to be that much more dominant than the guy in front of you to really get around him, especially in the midgets when everybody's really close to the same speed.
Going to be interesting to keep track of the condition of the track as well, because it could mean that these guys that are running through the soup have more of an advantage to know what the track is doing and what adjustments need to be made. Let's talk about the lineup. Danny Lawson in the 81 and Anthony Marvugolo on the pole. Front row there for you. Jamie Wallace and Brendan Lacey, Brian Johnson, Jeff Westergaard, Tim Berner and Zach Kaiser, Alex Bison, Kyle Commence, Tyler Chalk, and John Lepresto rounding out your field. 10 laps the distance. We're taking the top 2. A little bit of beating and banging there going on between rows 3 and 4. Just letting everybody know they're there and who's coming through. We're going green here off of turn number 4. Lawson bringing them down to the line. Good start for Mavugalo there. 3 wide through turns 1 and 2. Marvugalo on the high side. He's under fire from Brennan Lacey. Lacey had a very quick car there in his heat race. He's going to split the middle there, going for second spot as the caution flag flies. See if that is Kyle Clements. Issues in front of him there. Is that Zach Kaiser? No, it's not. Brian Johnson having issues collecting Kyle Clements there. And quite frankly, not much he could do. Now into the pits goes Kyle Clements. I do want to mention in the chat here, Dustin Griffiths calling his shots. He's going to be starting in the C main. He says he is winning every race of the soup onto the feature. So I just want to let everybody know, plenty of confidence in the Twitch chat from that 82 car. Caution flag laps do count in the heat races and the D, C, B mains before we get to the feature where they will not count. So as the laps tick away, the guys in the top 2 spots feel a little better, and the guys behind them get a little more anxiety, hoping they're going to be able to find their way into this race. Lawson, Marvugalo, Lacey, and Wallace, your top 4. Lawson, although had a decent start, Marvugalo was able to stay with him there. One of the first times we've seen that. We'll see if he can get another good start here as we go green. Starting lap number 5. Lacey now with a dive under Marvugalo. Looked like those two made a little bit of contact. And one car around. That is not Marvugalo, who is still in third. And that car did get off the racetrack. More problems there at the rear of the field. Caution will come out for that incident.
And we're also going to need to see if Lacey might have a penalty on there, because he looked to be past the second place car when they took the green.
I feel like he jumped the start there, huh?
Well, I don't know if he jumped it. I think Marvuglia it didn't get as good of a launch as what he thought he was going to get, and dipped to the inside. So, but again, it's the way that the iRacing deal scores it. It's hard to tell, but he looked pretty close to me.
Let's see here. Yeah, the thing you got to look out for is we're going to go back to live here. Brennan Lacey being shown as the race leader there. The caution flew. I guess he was the recipient of that slide job there that gave him the lead there before the caution flag went out. As we were speaking on the restarts, the driver behind cannot pass on the inside of the racetrack before the start-finish line. So that's where you have to look. You can end up with a black flag if you do that. Now, if you go to the outside of the driver, that's a different story. That's not a big deal. Then you only have to worry about the DOB admins saying that you jumped the start there. But iRacing will penalize you if you pass to the inside before the start-finish line. But right now, Brennan Lacey is your race leader. We're going to go green with 2 laps. Actually, only 1 lap left in this race because we've still got 1 more caution lap to make. Danny Lawson in second with the transfer spot right now. But he has got to be feeling a little rough because now Marvugalo has a shot at him. Not only does he feel rough, he's starting to blink out. We'll see if that car can make. There he comes back in screen there. Marvugalo's on the radio saying, "Get him off the track!" He's blinking everywhere. I can't see. But not going to happen here. We're going to go green right now with 1 lap left in this race. Top 2 advance. Lacey, your leader. Lawson in second. Here comes Marvugalo with the slide job. Lawson trying to get back to the inside, but he slides into the infield. Marvugalo to the bottom of the track. He's got a guy looking for him on the outside, but he's going to hold the position through the start-finish line, and Anthony Marvugalo moving on into tonight's C main. Didn't see that one coming, Billy.
I knew the slide job was coming, but I didn't see that the spin was going to happen there. But it's hard to, a lot of times, especially in the slick there, it's hard to cut the corner down and still be able to put the power down to drive past the guy, especially at the angle that he was in.
Peyton talking smack in the Facebook chat that it's week 2 and I'm still mispronouncing names. You need to understand something, Peyton. I'm going to mispronounce names all the way through this. I don't care what week it is. And let's see you get on here and pronounce Marvugalo. Are you kidding me? Marvuglio? What do you want from me? Come on.
He wants perfection.
Yeah,
that's what Peyton Grease is all about.
You better look elsewhere, buddy. You're going to have to quit hitting infield walls before you do that. So we are to the C main here. 12 laps of racing action. Once again, only the top 2 will advance. Starting lineup looks like this. In the 94, it is Todd Labube. Yeah, that's another one right there. He's probably going to hit me on that one.
LeBobe.
LeBobe?
Let's go with LeBobe.
That's got to be like, you're looking at like Louisiana right there, right? Cajun name?
We'll just call him the Raging Cajun.
All right. The Raging Cajun on pole, Brent Hobson.
The Raging Cajun might be from Minnesota.
Brett Strickler and John Lowe, Bo Brunig and Brandon Steele, Dustin Hall, Chris Roberts, Jonathan Smith, Dustin Griffiths, Michael Klinkelfuss, Brennan Lacey, and Anthony Marvugalo. Rounding out your field, Dustin Griffiths, who called his shot starting 10th in this race. We're going to see if he can parlay that confidence into a finish here. So keep an eye on the 82 from 10th. Raging Cajun on the pole, gonna give him green right here. LeBeau out to an early lead. Brent Hobson takes second place away there. 4 wide through turns 1 and 2 there. Brett Strickler, the man who comes out with second place, but the 181 making his way forward here. Hobson trying to battle back. 4th place belongs to Brunig. Man, it's really close up front, Billy. Top 3 throw a blanket over the top of them. Now Strickler to the inside. He gave up a little bit of speed there. We'll see if Hobson can make that run on the outside. He does. Can he make it stick? And as the caution flag waves.
And this is going to be very, very shocking, but Catch Fence Griffiths just lived up to the name. Hate to see it. He was on the move, but it looked like Dustin Griffiths was the one that brought out the yellow there. And we also have some confirmation. It is actually Marvulio. So the G is silent.
Marvulio, okay.
Marvulio. We got it. We've got you, Anthony. We've got you.
We'll go with that. Let's take a look at Catch Fence Griffiths here. That was quite the tumble. We were also watching Brennan Lacey, who had his own problems. There's almost 3 separate crashes there. Richard the Rocket rolling into the Twitch chat here. Hey, my friend. Mentioning that this game sucks. Richard, of course, winner of the original World of Outlaws Pro qualifying series for the sprint cars. Richard has retired from iRacing competition. Probably one of the most controversial drivers in the history of the sim. I think that's pretty safe to say, right, Billy?
I would go out on a limb and say yes. That would, yeah. I'd equate that out to water being wet and snow being cold. So, yeah.
So we should get back to green flag racing action next lap here. LeBeau, Hobson, Strickler, and Brunig, your top 4. Marvulio in chat saying that we finally got it right. It looks like he's out of this race now, so unfortunate for him, but we are green once more. LeBeau with a good start, but the 181 of Hobson right there. Here comes Strickler on the cushion, trying to find his way around. Top 2 advance. Strickler's got to have something. You can see the race lead trading back and forth. LeBeau to the inside with the slide job. He's going to slide. Oh! Strickler between him and the wall as the caution flies. Get a look here. Roberts and Hall. Brandon Steele in that battle as well. The slide job comes in. Hall gets caught up. Contact with another car. Eventually bringing out the caution. Let's see who else that is. I think that's John Lowe who ended up upside down there in that crash. We might get another green flag lap in this one, but it will be just one if that's the case. Hobson, LeBeau, the 2 in the transfer spots right now. We saw that big move from Strickler, and the caution flag waved at just the wrong time. Terrible timing there. So we're going to see what is left in this race. Plenty of fun in the Twitch chat here. Some old rivalries popping back up.
It never fails.
Hayes calling out that move by Strickler. It was an excellent move. It's too bad that it didn't stick for him there with the caution. But he's going to have one more lap to try and get into this race. Todd LeBeau, second place. He's got to hold him off right now. Hobson with a good start. Here comes Strickler on the high side. Can he thread the needle once more? Not going to happen. That door is shut. But the 50 car of Brunig making his way through. Slide job in. Can LeBeau make his way back around? Not going to happen. Give it to Bo Brunig from fourth on that final restart. He's going to get a little love from Strickler there just to say, hey, man, that was supposed to be my spot. But it didn't work out for Strickler there. Brunig and Hobson, the only two men moving on to tonight's B main. 14 laps the distance in the B main. This time, Billy, we're going to get 5 drivers that are going to go on to the next race. So a little less pressure on these guys up front.
Yeah, if you start up front in the first few rows, you should be okay. But Eden's starting on outside of a transfer spot, Lepresto, and then you've got Davis, Stephen Hill. There's still a lot of fast guys that are 7th through 9th, and then the top 5 aren't too shabby either already. So should be.
13 cars in this race. Only 5 advance. A lot of fast cars as well. Take a look at the starting lineup. In the 101 on the pole, it is Shea Paulo and Colton Hardy in the 152 Swindell Speed Labs car to the outside. Blake Cannon inside row number 2 in the 44 with Jeffrey Stewart to his outside. Chase Rodman and Brad Faria make up row number 3 with James Edens and Anthony Lepresto row number 4. Nathan Davis and Stephen Hill row number 5. Aaron Schaefer, Brent Hobson row number 6, and Bo Brunig rounding out your field. Once again, Billy, I think it's that 26 that we got to keep our eyes on. He needs 2 spots to make his way into tonight's A main. You think he's got a possibility here?
Absolutely. As long as, but again, it all comes down to speed and then that luck factor too. You got to make sure nobody makes a mistake in front of you, or you don't get involved in somebody else's mistake.
Going green for 14 laps right here. Shea Paulo leading them down. Great start for Paulo. He's going to bring Blake Cannon with him. 3rd place up in the air right now. Colton Hardy on the outside has it. Jeffrey Stewart trying to make his way forward. A little bit of contact there behind them, but I think everybody got that sorted out. You see on the inside, a couple cars battling it out as well. That's Brunig trying to make his way forward. Right now, the race is in the middle of the field. Stephen Hill, Jeffrey Stewart making contact with Nathan Davis. No caution.
3 wide off the corner. It's really, really hard to really hard to make it work off of 2. For some odd reason, 2 seems to get a little bit better. Wow.
Big slider there
Jeffrey
from
Stewart.
Rodman. Stewart into the fence and out. Another car up front. Shea Paulo found the fence upside down. Let's go back and take a look here. You can see the problems on the backstretch there. Davis was the recipient of the worst of the contact there, but here comes Rodman with a huge slider passing 2 cars. One of those cars he threw a right rear to, and Stewart upside down. And then we're going to go forward here to Shea Paulo, who is going to find trouble as well. Backed it up once again. We want to see what happens to Shea here. See him on the high side of the track. Nobody really around him. Going to make contact with the fence. And up and over goes the 101 car. He is out. Jeffrey Stewart is out. Nathan Davis is out. So there's some quick cars right there who are not going to be moving forward into tonight's events. Top 10 right now. Blake Cannon, your leader. Colton Hardy, 2nd. James Edens, Stephen Hill. And Hobson in the 181 right now. 6 positions up and in the transfer spot. Both Hill and Hobson, big movers at the moment. Yeah, Jeff in the chat. a little bit of language, because I do believe that was a rough challenge, and we'll probably see a penalty on that one, no doubt about it. Blake Cannon leading them down here, working lap 7. Top 5 are going to advance in this race. Keep our eyes on Stephen Hill here, who is battling with Hobson. James Eden's up to 3rd. Issues there at the rear of the field. He's going to get it sorted out. However, Stephen Hill still working with Hobson. Hobson to the inside. Not going to make anything stick right now. But Hobson is in the race. The man on the outside looking in is Anthony Lepresto. Got one car upside down. Caution flags.
Rodman just bonsai'd it in there and destroyed. I don't know who that was, if it was Faria. I'm not sure who that was, but there was a massive bonsai move.
That was Bo Brunig, who Rodman made contact with there. I don't mean to speak for the admins, but I think he's going to be looking at 2 strikes in one race here. Dustin Griffiths talking about the C-Main in the chat. He said that he's told to either win or be the show, and he definitely put on a show there. Upside down in 3 and 4. One car being a little goofy there to the inside. Get everybody lined up here. Should get some green flag action here in just a moment. So Blake Cannon, race leader, Colton Hardy, James Eden, Stephen Hill. And right now in 5th, it is Anthony Lepresto. Schaefer is the man on the outside looking in. He's going to have to try and make a move here to make his way into tonight's A main. Should go green next time by.
Yeah, no matter what, this will be the last restart, so we'll just have to kind of see how nice these guys are going to play after the last two incidents.
My guess is you're thinking they're not.
No. I fully expect a full send slider that might get a little silly.
2 laps. Blake Cannon leading them down. Right now, James Eden's in 3rd, working the back end of Colton Hardy. Lepresto to the inside of Stephen Hill. Those 2 cars need to make sure they don't make contact because they don't want to give Aaron Schaefer a shot. Lepresto now to 4th as Hill fights back. White flag in the air. Blake Cannon, your race leader. Hill throws a big slider on Lepresto. Hopefully that doesn't put him in danger of Schaefer making a move here through 3 and 4. Blake Cannon is going to win this race. James Eden 2nd, Colton Hardy. Lepresto's going to come home 4th, and Stephen Hill is actually just now crossing the start-finish line. Can we get a replay real quick? Contact there. Oh, my goodness, Schaefer. Stephen Hill still finished 5th. That was unbelievable.
Yeah, he was kind of getting worried there for a sec if he was going to be able to limp across or not.
Wow, I thought that Stephen Hill missed the show there because of the contact with Schaefer, but Schaefer, sideways on the track, made contact with the car behind them, which allowed Hill to get back going.
It's always wild in the midgets. Always.
That's the way we like it, though. See Hayden Cardwell having a little wall action there. Going right along with Sean Wallenfels. This 2-minute warm-up. We've got 1:15 left as these guys feel out the current racetrack. See James Tiernan going over top of Sean Wallenfels there, who has the 9th quickest lap right now.
You know, Shay, that's part of the reason why I'm in the booth. The midgets are one of the most fun cars I think on the sim to drive, but I think they're one of the hardest to be fast at and actually truthfully race with. It's just a totally different ball game.
Kendall Tucker right now with the quickest lap in the warm-up session. Alex Smolders second. Third place, Colton Hardy at the moment. Am I having a little fun here before the race? Start throwing some cars around.
Well, hopefully everybody gets it out of their system in the warm-up so we can have a good, clean race tonight.
God willing, but let's...
These guys the midgets put on, I think, some of the best racing on the sim. It's just as long as you can get those laps going, they're a lot of fun to run.
35 laps will be the distance in tonight's A main. Caution flag laps do not count, remember. And this is not the final race of the evening as well, so anybody watching, do stick around. We've still got the wingless 360 sprints here after this race. Starting lineup is going to be where everything is most interesting. Said Kendall Tucker was quickest there in the warm-up session. He is starting 10th in this race. Alex Smolders starting 3rd. Quick driver like James Eden starting 17th. Saw a lot of speed out of Mason Hannigan as well. He's starting 15th. So let's run through them here as we get ready to go with the DOB Wicked Energy Gum Midget Series, race number 2 here at the dirt track at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Trey Schmidt in the 012 on the pole with James Tiernan in the 98 to the outside. Alex Smolders and Matthew McKinney, row number 2. Tyson Landis and Hayden Cardwell, row number 3. Cole Newhoffen and Braden Eiler, row 4. Rusty Kruger and Kendall Tucker, row 5. J.D. Brown to the inside of Sean Wallenfels in row number 6. Peyton Grease, Cole Harvey, Mason Hannigan, Blake Cannon, James Edens, Colton Hardy, Anthony Lepresto, and Stephen Hill rounding out your field. Justin Hasselbrock in the chat asking what number Jeffrey is. He's the 072. Not in this race now. He was in the B, of course. Said he didn't need dinner after being fed that right rear.
He might be full for a week because he got fed the entire car.
But that was then. This is now. 35 laps of midget action here at the dirt track. We're going green this time. See those drivers chomping at the bit to get this race going. Nearly jumping there was Smolders and Tiernan. Smolders going to get around Tiernan for second spot. James now fighting back to the inside. Early race battle trying to find the position. Smolders was in the fence. We missed that. We were watching Tiernan with the move on the bottom, figuring that Smolders would come back into the picture.
And he got caught up by those bumps. It looks like there's the bumps going down the backstretch here, getting into 3 are absolutely wicked, and they get the front end bouncing, and you just can't turn the car to get the...
Yeah, you can see it bouncing there too. There he goes. He didn't have any wheels on the ground to enable that car to turn, so the fact that he was unable to pitch it, all of a sudden, he found a wall.
And I don't know if you can go on board with him there to see what the bumps actually do to the car. I don't know if I just broke your mind or not, but it's pretty impressive of how much the car jumps around and going through.
Look at that. Looked like a Pro 4 truck there. So we're going to reset there. Lap 38 now becomes the white flag lap. Cole Newhoffen is the man who made a lot of spots there before the carnage ensued. Colton Harvey as well in 10th. We're going to go back to green here. Starting lap 5. Trey Schmidt, James Tiernan, Cole Newhoffen, your top 3. Schmidt with a good start. Was able to get some distance there on Tiernan. Newhoffen goes to the top of the racetrack. You see Tiernan working the slider line right now. That 50 car coming into the frame. That is Matthew McKinney. Winner last night, trying to make his way forward. You can see Newhoffen had some issues. He's putting a slider on right now. Not going to stick on McKinney. So currently 5th after restarting 3rd. A lot of side-by-side action here as the caution flies once again. Have to go a little farther back in the field to see what happened. Wow, problems with the teammates there, Billy. Blake Cannon and Colton Hardy making contact here. One car around in front of them. It looks like they were collected.
Things are already getting a little chippy, it sounds like. I hope everybody starts getting going here and actually getting back to some racing instead of having some issues.
Looked like that was Eiler who found the fence, and then Hardy ran into him and collected Blake Cannon, both of those cars out of the race. So we're seeing a lot of fast race cars go by the wayside early. Smolders, 2 of the Swindell Speed Lab cars. Lots of trouble here for guys that we felt like were going to be front runners. Going to get the 1 to green this time. We'll take a look at that top 10 once again. It is Hayden Cardwell, the man on the move now, up to 3rd in this race. Cardwell, the points leader here in race number 2. So he's looking to have another good points night to continue his stranglehold on the top spot. But he's got to get around James Tiernan and Trey Schmidt to be a threat in this race. We'll see what he's got here on the restart. Lap 41 is now your white flag lap. We are green. Another good start for Schmidt. James Tiernan working the slider line as here comes Cardwell in the 19. He's got a run, going to try to duck under the 98 of Tiernan. Stays to the bottom of the track there. You can see McKinney working the high side behind them as well. Tiernan now pulls even with Schmidt down into turn 1. Slides up the track, makes contact. Schmidt up, oh man. Multiple cars caught up. Cardwell, 51 of McKinney. Not sure what car that is. Is that the 70? Goodness gracious. Major trouble there. Let's back it up. You can see Tiernan making the move here to the inside of turn 1. Contact with that car of Schmidt, and he collects multiple cars behind him. That's the 46 car that is upside down. That's Kendall Tucker, another fast car. Goodness gracious. So we're going to have to keep an eye on here. That was a slide job, and I do believe James Tiernan is going to take an end-of-line penalty. Not sure if James offered himself up to that or if he was penalized by the admins, but James Tiernan, after that slide job, going to take an end-of-line penalty. That's going to move him back to 13th spot. Only 13 cars left in this race. A lot of fast cars out of it right now. So that is going to move Cole Newhoffen into the race lead. Hayden Cardwell to 2nd. Rusty Kruger 6 spots up in 3rd. Tyson Landis and Cole Harvey looks to be our big mover of the race. He and Edens both sharing 9 positions gained. Keep an eye on those guys. We're going to go green once more. Lap 44 is now our white flag lap. Here we go. Newhoffen. Good jump there. You can see the damage to the front of Cardwell's car there, Billy. How much problems do you think that's going to give him?
It depends if it's in the front end or not. It doesn't seem like it's going to be hurting him too much. It's more than likely just a cosmetic deal at this.
Well, it's not hurting him right now as Cardwell takes the race lead away. Rusty Kruger trying to put himself into this battle as well. He's up to second. He's made his way around Newhoffen. Landis looking to get into this battle. He's following Kruger there. Kruger once again putting the slider on Newhoffen. Not going to stick this time. Newhoffen a lane off the top as another caution flag waves. Do believe that is Mason Hannigan who found some trouble. We're going to back it up here. See Mason come off a 2, a little bit out of shape. Collecting them bumps, finding his way into the turn 3 wall, and up and over goes the tropical storm Mason Hannigan and out of this race.
Definitely not the landfall he was looking to make.
That's terrible.
That was a dad joke, and I don't apologize for it at all.
I like it. All right, move.
A lot of attrition so far in this, which
yeah.
is the same thing of what we saw last week. There's only 12 or 13 guys left on the racetrack, so hopefully we can get this race going some green flag laps for a little.
And these aren't just cars either. That's 8 guys that had a chance to win this race that are now out. Talked about Hayden Cardwell having some damage. Didn't seem to affect him there, but he's got guys coming up behind him that don't care how much damage he has. They're going to try to find a way around no matter what. We got one more lap under caution here as we reset. Cardwell, Newhoffen, Kruger, Tyson Landis, Cole Harvey, your top 5. James Eden sitting right there in 6th, looking to make his move. As we said, lap 47 is now your white flag lap. These caution flag laps do not count, but the lap that the caution comes out on does count. Cody Batten saying that everybody's lucky Trey got wrecked out there.
Yeah, Trey was definitely quick. There's a lot of fast cars that have all been wrecked. It's definitely unfortunate.
Back to green here on lap 21. Hayden Cardwell. Good jump on Newhoffen. Behind him, Rusty Kruger is on the cushion. Trying to make a move. Contact there with Newhoffen and Kruger. That's going to turn him around in front of the field. No caution. Caution flag does not wave. Unfortunately for Kruger, he ran into the back of Newhoffen, and it cost him some positions. So let's see here. Tyson Landis now moving into 3rd spot. He's trying to get around Newhoffen. Behind him, we talked about him earlier, James Eden's in the Swindell Speed Lab car. Oh, problems for the race leader. Cardwell into the fence and upside down. And 2 cars behind him upside down. Billy, it's just absolute pandemonium out here.
It's not an Australian pursuit race, but boy, these guys are treating it like one. That's for sure. It's just eliminating cars. If you can stay on the track at this point, you might catch a top 3 or top 5 out of this.
Goodness gracious. Cardwell still on the track. Looks like it was Anthony Lepresto and Rusty Kruger who found their way upside down behind him. I am really surprised Cardwell doesn't have terminal damage on that thing, but I guess the race isn't over yet. Looking at lap 50 as the white flag lap. Just a war out there tonight. We talked about Charlotte. That cushion, the outside of the racetrack, gets very rough. We've seen it bite many drivers here, Billy. These midgets don't have enough weight to hold themselves down to the racetrack. They're hopping up and into the fence.
Well, and it's just you've got a tight like Tyson Landis, for example. Same thing with Newhoffen. It's the risk versus reward thing we were talking about. They're both going in underneath the cushion. When you flirt with it up on the top, going in on entry, it's just asking for it. Really, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So hopefully they can keep it out of the wall for the rest of the race, and really that's the name of the game right now.
Let's keep an eye on James Tiernan, who took that self-imposed penalty. He's back up to 8th spot. All of these positions might be a bit of a misnomer here because they're just basically missing the crashes at this point. But still, we do have some big movers in this race. Green flag flies once again. Cole Newhoffen, your race leader. It is Tyson Landis in the 31 in second. James Edens behind him in third. Landis now getting froggy here to the outside. He's got Newhoffen at the moment. See if he can pull him off the corner. He does. Tyson Landis to the race lead. James Edens on the cushion, trying to make his way into second spot. Landis with a little bit of a slip allows Newhoffen back up alongside. Newhoffen trying to find the bottom of the race course in any sort of grip that he can. Let's give a shout out here to Peyton Grease running 4th at the moment, and James Tiernan, we spoke about it, back up to 5th now. Want to hop on board here with the Swindell Speed Labs driver. They were 3 wide for a moment. He's going to put a slider on Landis, and it works for right now. James Edens to the race lead. Landis having trouble there with Newhoffen. That brings Grease into the picture. Grease looking to the inside for second. Here comes Tiernan to the inside of Grease as well. Oh, we got problems again. Newhoffen sliding into turn number 1. Grease making contact with him. You can see that car trying to get straightened out, but the caution will come out. Let's back it up here and see. Big battle going on. Grease tried to find the inside. Tiernan was there as well. You can see him go down into turn number 1. Newhoffen switches his mind up and goes to the bottom. You know, Billy, I don't really think there was anything Peyton could do there.
No, it definitely wasn't intentional. I think Peyton was just going for a hole that he thought might stay open. And then the door closed on him. But either way, you kind of have to have that sense of awareness to know that if Newhoffen's been running the bottom for that long, more than likely he's going to go back to the bottom. So you kind of have to race with that patience of where you think the guy's going to be at and where he's been the whole race.
Lap 53 becomes our new white flag lap. This race has changed tremendously. James Edens up 16 spots as your current race leader. Tyson Landis sitting in second. James Tiernan in third, who is battling his way back from that end-of-line penalty after contact with Trey Schmidt. Should get back going here in the next lap. So we're going green once more. James Edens out front, Tyson Landis second. Good start for Edens there, but he wasn't able to get much of a gap there on second place. Landis trying to work a lower line. You can see Tiernan holding the bottom. Behind him is J.D. Brown in the 14, who's making his way forward. Billy Edens up on the high side. We saw how dangerous that can be. A little bit of slip there off of 2. Does a guy really risk it here with about 20 laps left?
The line that he's running seems okay. He's going in below where the bumps are and kind of sliding himself up to the cushion. And like in this case, they're keeping himself in the moisture. So I don't think he's going to have any issues as far as the bumps go or as far as the rough racetrack goes. Now it's just pretty much, can he hold off Tiernan and Landis, and it's going to depend if they can get clear with each other here to see if there's going to be any charge at all.
Looks like he has come off the fence there as Landis makes contact with the wall, upside down, down the backstretch, and the caution flag does fly. You see Tiernan working the inside. Gonna go down here into turn number 1. Tiernan comes up the racetrack in front of Landis. Landis gets on the binders and just nowhere to go. Looked like J.D. Brown behind him made contact, and that started to send him over. He is able to continue, so that's good news. But now Tyson, that meatball flag, claims him as well. So that is going to put him 9th in this race. Only 8 cars left in this feature. Lap 56, your white flag lap. So we're going to be looking at what should be 12 laps left in this race. Sometimes you get races like these, wars of attrition. Do want to thank Prime Time for the bits. Appreciate that. We did see, Billy, Edens came off the top side there for a moment. He started running a lane down, so not sure if he got scared there on the cushion. But you can see these guys taking that into account.
Well, yeah, again, it's just that risk reward. I mean, the top's a lot faster, but can you get the car through the bumps? And it just takes one bad bump to make the car not know what it's doing, and take.
A little bit of an issue there for James Tiernan on the start. That gives Edens a good run. J.D. Brown on the high side trying to make waves on him. Not going to happen this time. Tiernan up on the high side. You can see Edens, like we said, a lane under. There is still a little bit of moisture there. You can see it drive into it there, into turn 2. Behind them, it's the 85 car of Cole Harvey coming into this picture, fighting it out with Newellhoffen behind him. J.D. Brown falling back to 5th. There, Newellhoffen, a little bit of contact there with the 85. Let's go ahead and go on board here with James Tiernan. See what he sees as he's trying to chase down the race leader. See Edens right there in front of him. Ooh, problems for Edens. He's going to slip. That's going to allow Tiernan to the outside. Edens sliding up the track. We'll see if Tiernan can get a run down here into turn 1, but he holds on pretty well. Billy, we can hear Tiernan. He is on the gas. I don't want to say completely, but definitely still using a lot of throttle. So he's got that setup working pretty well right now.
Yeah, it sure seems that way. I just don't know. They're both such the same speed. It's going to come down to if either one of them makes a mistake. But Newhoffen's kind of on his catching both of them, it looks like here. So this race might not be over.
Well, as those guys battle, that brings him into the picture. We've got 9 laps left in this race, 8 now as they cross the line. Right now, everybody's single file, but you can see Newellhoffen turning laps a little quicker than the guys ahead of him. Couple tenths that lap, actually. So keep an eye on the 3rd place Cole Newellhoffen. He's had the lead of this race a couple of times. Had to give it up. But now making a charge late. Cole Harvey in 4th. J.D. Brown 5th. These drivers doing everything possible to catch that race leader. James Edens. He started 17th in this race. Has survived the carnage and is leading here with 5 to go. Now it's all about focus. Making sure you hit your marks, no mistakes, not as the caution flag flies. Not sure where that caution was, actually. Gonna change up the laps once again. Already back out on track. Possibly could have been the caution there. We see a lot of guys many laps down here, Billy, getting back into this race. They're trying to make positions to keep their points up.
Yeah, I think with as few racetracks as there are, or a few race cars on the racetrack that there is, if you're just finished at this point, even if you're 5, 6, 7 laps down, you can still pull a top 10 out of this.
Not to mention, there's only 7 races in this season, so every race becomes super important. James getting some love in the chat. Lights go out on the pace truck. We're going to go green next time on lap 55, and 59 is the white flag lap. So 4 green flag laps left in this race. We've got 7 cars on the lead lap. Edens, Tiernan, Newhoffen, Harvey, and Grease. Grease had that issue. He's making his way back forward as well. Edens with an excellent start, Billy. He makes the distance on Tiernan, but here comes Newhoffen and Tiernan with the slide job. 3 wide momentarily. Edens on the cushion there. Contact! Newhoffen and Tiernan make contact. That's going to collect the 85 car of Harvey. And the caution flag will fly. Let's back it up to the restart. This might be most unfortunate for Cole Harvey, who found himself collected into this mess. You can see Newhoffen on the inside. Tiernan's going to the bottom as well. I don't think Newhoffen really came up the racetrack. I think that was Tiernan who came down.
Yeah, that was one of those racing deals of 2 guys fighting for the same piece of real estate. I don't think either driver's really truthfully at fault anymore.
Yeah, going for it there. Tiernan actually made contact with another car, which straightened him out. So he's running 4th in this race. Not out of it yet. It's going to move the white flag lap to lap 62. Couldn't see the pace truck there. We might be going green this next time by. Edens. Grease now into 2nd place. He was the recipient of a couple of positions as that crash happened. Tiernan now to 3rd. Looks like Newhoffen might have taken an end-of-line penalty for that contact. I got to say, I don't really agree with that, but they'll have a chance to look at it after the race. Going to get the 1 to green this time, which means we're going to take the green on lap 60 for a green-white checkered finish here in the DOB Wicked Energy Gum Midget Series. It has been truly a war, Billy. I think we're both wore out here in the booth, let alone these guys in the cars.
This is definitely war. I'm not really sure. War, battle, anything that you can call it. It's turned into some aerial warfare.
Peyton Grease looking for a good restart here. He'd love to find a feature win. He's not going to get a good restart as Edens making some time on him. That's going to bring Tiernan up the inside of Peyton. Peyton on the high side is going to be able to hold him off right now. Good power off there for Tiernan on the bottom off of 2. White flag in the air for our race leader, James Edens out front. James Tiernan to the inside. Side by side through 1 and 2. Let's see if Tiernan powers off on the bottom. He does! He's going to come up side by side with Edens down into turn number 3. These 2 racing for the win. James Edens on the outside. He's going to come off of 4 and win the DOB Wicked Energy Gum Midget Series.
Last lap. Oh, and we got a big... They're racing it out. That was actually the white flag lap.
Caution, yeah, I went a little too far. Tiernan upside down.
looks like Edens takes the win. Peyton Grease.
You have to excuse me, a little bit of confusion there setting in. That race ended a lap after I thought. James Tiernan getting upside down there. He's going to end up 6th. Peyton Grease going to come home 2nd. Cole Newhoffen, after that entire battle, rounding out our top 3. See if we can get a view of the front stretch here. These are the men who found their way to the podium after that absolute wild event. 62 laps of craziness. We're going to see if we can get these guys here into Discord with us.
Well, while you're doing that, I'm going to hop on over and get ready for the non-wing sprint car race. Hopefully that one is a little less mayhem.
Yeah, we've got the 360 wingless sprints coming up here after this race concludes. So Billy's going to go take part in that. We're bringing some guys into the broadcast booth as we speak. Let's go ahead and talk to second place Peyton Grease. Peyton, that was a bit of a yo-yo race for you there. Went to the front, found yourself going to the back once again with a little bit of an issue, and made your way back up front there towards the end. Talk to us about it.
Yeah, I got the car a little too tight, and then it wouldn't stay up on the cushion. So, but didn't have enough gear around the bottom, so just hanging on and just playing survival. Really, I mean, that was it's a second, but it's kind of eh.
Yeah, so not exactly what you're looking for there, especially when you're that close to the win there. That final restart seemed like Edens got a little bit of a jump on you. That allowed Tiernan to the inside as well, but those boys fought it out, and all of a sudden Tiernan was upside down. Did you think you were going to have an opportunity to get around both of them if they made contact there?
Yeah, I saw where they're racing pretty aggressive there, going into one on last lap, and I was kind of just sitting there, just being patient and just waiting on them to make a mistake. So it was definitely fun to watch from afar.
Well, congratulations on a second place finish there, Peyton. You're going to be doing battle here in the wingless 360s as well?
Yes, sir.
Well, good luck to you. Second place for Peyton Grease. Had to battle it out there. We also got Cole Newhoffen here in the chat. Cole, you had the lead there multiple times. It seemed like just a battle to try and find the moisture there. We saw you on the bottom of the track, through the middle, on the top. Just a complicated race there with the conditions of the track, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was weird. Ran the bottom for a while, then James flew around me on the top, so I moved to the middle-ish, and I was fast. Then I got right behind James on that restart, and I thought he'd go up towards the middle, but he kind of stayed on the bottom, like middle of the track, and I couldn't see him, and I right reared him. Sorry to James for that, but I honestly couldn't see him at all. But I feel bad, but I'm not sure how I got third, but
Well, we saw quite a bit of contact there in that race as well. And it just seemed to be a war of attrition. You had to battle the whole way. How tough is it to keep your rhythm as all of those cautions comes out and all the various drivers that you raced with throughout the race? Because there were plenty of guys that were fast and went to the back, and some of them made it back up front. But just talk to us about how you keep a cool head and your nose clean when that sort of thing is happening.
well, with iRacing's rough tracks and how nimble the midgets are, it's just you really have to hit your marks perfect if you're on the bottom or the middle. You can't really mess up, because if you mess up, then you'll spin your tires or get sideways and everybody will blow by you. But midgets are especially tough because they're just so light and nimble, and if they're so easy to spin out, you just gotta hit your marks every time and not mess up.
It's definitely a complicated race, but Cole Newhoffen able to weather the storm there and bring it home in third place. Congratulations, my friend. We look forward to seeing you out there in wingless action as well.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank Dustin Griffiths for the setup. It was really good. I can't set up a midget for the life of me, but he did a really good job with that. And I'd also like to thank my teammates at Kinzer Racing Sim Team. Our sponsors, Mazia Valley Transportation, Race on Texas, Border Tire, DRC Chassis, and Southern Pacific Farms.
Well done, my friend. Good luck here in the next race. All right, we've got the race winner as well. James Eden's here with us in the broadcast booth. James, we got to talk to you last night, a little bit off of the top step of the podium, but here you are in the midget race, making your way from 17th to 1st. Talk to us about that wild event.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty wild. There was a lot of carnage out there for sure, you know, and just I was surprised, you know, starting 17th, man. They were dropping like flies around me, and just, you know, picked the right lines at the right time and missed it all. So
How much thought did you put into picking those lines as well? Because we saw you pretty quick on the bottom, pretty quick on the top, but then there, as it seemed like guys were having trouble with the top line, you went a lane under that and were finding a lot of success there. Was that just the comfort zone? Were you worried that you might end up being one of those cars in the wall? Or talk to us about your thought process.
yeah, you know, the track changed quite a bit. It was starting to get really slick there, you know, right where the left rear would be if you were running up on the wall. So, you know, it's just one of those things. You gotta, you know, you gotta survive to win a race, and you know, gotta finish. So, but yeah, the middle was still really good. I mean, most of the night there, even towards the end, you could run practically wide open, you know, down through there because there was so much moisture. So it was just one of those things. You just had to find what was working best at the time.
So it works out for you here. You know, we see you a lot in the wing sprint cars and the non-wing stuff. You're pretty quick in everything that you do. Do you feel pretty confident about your midget game? Is this a pleasant surprise, or is this one of the things that you look to do here in the DOB season, win more of these?
You know, hopefully, I think we won 4 last season, so you know, it'd be nice to win, you know, 4 or maybe a few more this season. But you know, didn't start off too strong there at Eldora. I got to quit missing qualifying now.
Well, yeah, we talked about that as well. So you're looking to two-peat this bad boy, aren't you? Trying to go back to back with this championship?
I don't know about that. We'll see. It's a long season.
Well, we definitely liked seeing you out front here tonight. Made it interesting for us. It doesn't matter whether you pass a bunch of cars that are upside down or you pass a bunch of cars that are got all 4 tires on the ground. It was fun watching you come forward, and congratulations on your win here tonight.
Yeah, thanks, man.
So there you have it, James Edens, your winner of the Wicked Energy Gum Midget Series here in DOB competition.